For better or for worse, I'm chronically online. So all of my book recommendations come from Bookstagram, BookTok, or BookTube, basically. But that does mean that I have read a lot of BookTok books, including these and some others on my Kindle. And I'm here today to tell you which ones are worth your time and energy and which ones you probably can pass by. Now, I have done this video before last year. It's one of the first videos that I made on this channel, so not good quality. I'm a little baby booktuber, but if you want to go watch that video, I will link it down below. But this is part 2. I have some more bangers, some more misses. Opening a reminder that, of course, this is all my opinion, so let's keep that very clear. But I think that if you align with me as far as the books that you tend to enjoy, whether it's romance, fantasy, romantasy, some literary, some historical, girl, I got you covered. And of course, I cannot make a video about BookTok without talking about Fourth Wing. Now, I just want to say also, this entire video, I'm only going to be talking about the first book in every series. Like, for example, this is the start of a full, I think it's going to be a 5 or 6 book series. Currently, only 3 books are out, but for time and energy's sake, I'm only going to be talking about book 1. Fourth Wing, in my humble opinion, and this could be polarizing, absolutely worth your time and energy. This book is so good. I made a TikTok recently, I don't know if it's posted yet, but it was basically, is it a 5-star masterpiece or is it a 5-star good time? In my opinion, Throne of Glass, 5-star masterpiece. This is a 5-star good time. Is the writing the best thing ever? No. Is the plot incredibly original? No. Is our love interest just like every other shadow-wielding, dark powers, tall, dark, and handsome love interest? It's the same thing. Yeah, he's the same one. Do I care? No. If you're new, I don't know what this is. This follows our main girl, Violet Sorrengail. She is the daughter of a general in this world where you have to follow one of 4 different, camps. That's even the wrong word for it. You can become a dragon rider, a healer, a scribe, or be part of, I think it's the army, which is lame. Why would you do any of those when you could ride dragons? So she enters into this dragon, school, camp, academy, whatever you want to call it, and it is so much freaking fun. Zayden, my house, my chair, my woman, Briorson, yeah. Actually, I'm gonna eat that up every time. I still think that this is absolutely some of the best and most fun fantasy out there. If you like How to Train Your Dragon, like I do, pick up this book, okay? Do me a favor and do yourself a favor and pick this one up. Funny Story by Emily Henry is the next one on this list. I'm going to say yes for this one. This is probably one of my favorite Emily Henry books, and I'm a girl that isn't a Emily Henry, not Emily Henry stan. I like her, I do. I like some of her books, but I also have avoided some because I feel like they're not gonna be up my alley. But I have read this Funny Story, beach read, People Were Being on Vacation. But this one out of the 3 I think was my favorite. We follow Daphne and Miles. Daphne and Miles' exes left them to be with each other, if that makes sense. Both Miles and Daphne are now well, we just got dumped. Our plans of life are now ruined. Let's move in together because we have no other option, basically is what happened. And so Daphne moves into Miles and Petra's old apartment with Miles, and it's kind of like and then they were roommates, strangers to lovers, but it's just a good time. It's a little bit more on the literary side than the romance side because there's a lot of background about Daphne making friends in this new city and just kind of figuring out who she is along with falling in love with Miles. But Miles is such a great and supportive guy for her. I think he's just very much not our classic love interest. When I picked up the book and started it, I didn't think he was a love interest because when we first see him, he's his hair is messy. He seems obviously in need of a shower. I think he's smoking. He seems ugh. But then the more you get to know him, the more you realize that number 1, he is healing from things too, and number 2, he's just an imperfect person, and that's okay. Not all love interests have to be perfection, obviously. So this, I think, is a very realistic romance. It's very sweet. Gave it 4 stars. I did enjoy it. But out of all of Emily Henry's books that I have read, which is again only 3, this was my absolute favorite. People Were Me on Vacation, I would say skip, but that's not in this video, so we won't even talk about that one. Butcher and Blackbird is the next book on this list, and this is a very viral book because I think this is the birth of dark rom-coms. So this is dark romance, but it's dark because of the content, not because of the relationship. The relationship is actually where the comedy comes in because this book is genuinely kind of funny. That being said, for me, this is a no. I know a lot of people love this book, and I really hope that you enjoy this if you pick it up. For me, it was a no because I felt like this was a lot of tell not show, and the progression of the romance was really weird for me. It was they're enemies, they don't like each other, oh, we're in love. And I was hello, what's happening? There was no tension build, slow burn, and also the tell not show thing again. I was just missing that connection and that chemistry. However, I did think the concept of this book was impeccable because it follows two different serial unalivers, let's just say, and they both meet to, I think, kill other bad serial unalivers. So like they're the good guys in this situation technically because they're like doing the Lord's work. Mixed morals there, but it's a fun time. There's a lot of like dark things in this book. For example, I think it's so funny, the trigger warning list has accidental cannibalism and then not so accidental cannibalism in this. Like, it's comical, it's funny, but it is a little like gross and gory, so if you don't like that, maybe not for you. But the romance is where it lacked for me, so I gave it 3 stars and I didn't finish the series. You made that decision for yourself. For me though, it's a no, and if you like romances with more of a build-up, probably pass on that one. When the Moon Hatched, I wish I could hold my physical copy of this book because I definitely have it, and in fact I want to reread it and annotate it because this book is so good. It's so good, but it is so good in fact that I gave it to my friends. We're doing a book swap rotation. That being said, this book is romantic yearning plus good fantasy, like really good fantasy in one. A lot of people have a lot of complaints about this book, and I do see where you're coming from. It is a chunky 600-page book. The plot can get kind of slow in some ways, and people say that the dragons in this book, because we once again have dragons in this fantasy, are treated more like cars than they are actual animals and beings. I get that argument. That being said, I ate this up in a matter of like 4, max 4, maybe 3 days last December. It is so good. Our FMC in this book is, I think she's an assassin. She's really like tough, you know, she has fighting skills. She has this mission she's going to go on. We follow her like very interesting story as she meets this guy. I think his name is Khan or Kane. Let me look up their names so I don't butcher it for you. Yeah, her name is Rave and his name is Khan. And we follow their plot as they like travel across this kingdom. It was just so good. It was just so good. There is so much to this book that made it, like I'm getting goosebumps, that made it so good that I can't tell you because it is spoiler territory. The plot twist in this book at the very end, and then what we get revealed about our main girl character, oh my gosh. And then the way as well that Khan, our MMC, is so deeply not only in love, but he is just so patient. The yearning, the slow drag out. If you think it's slow, wait till you get to the end and realize just how slow it actually was. If you know, you know. I don't know what else to say about this book. It's so good and I cannot wait to reread it. So if you want a fantasy romance with actual yearning and tension in your romance, pick this one up. You will not regret it. Okay, next on my list is Powerless. This is the first book in the Powerless series. This one for me is a yes with a caveat. So this is the first book in a YA fantasy series following a girl, Peyton Gray, who is an ordinary, and in this world, ordinaries don't have powers and silvers do have powers, and so she pretends to have powers basically so she isn't killed. And then she meets Kai, who is one of the princes in this kingdom, and he's what's called the Enforcer, going around killing the ordinaries. And she gets swept up into this like trials plotline with Kai and other members of this like high society in this kingdom. Basically, that's the breakdown. Now, if that sounds very familiar to you, it's because I think a lot of this book was taken from the book Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard that I read when I was like, I don't know, younger teenager. I really love that series, and post finishing this series, I'm really realizing how closely those two align. So maybe pick up that one. But if you want to pick up this one, this is still good, if not just very similar to that book. I think that this is YA romantasy, like completely following the genre. You know, we got the trials, we got the love interest, tall, dark, and handsome. Once again, we have the love triangle, we have the girl without powers or girl with powers, like one of the two tropes, you know. It's very just following the line, following the rules. Nothing original about this book by any means. But that being said, it's still a really fun time, and it's really fast-paced, so super easy to read. So I would recommend this, especially if you're looking for a YA specific novel, because this is like no spice, no cursing, perfectly good for younger readers, but it's also an enjoyable time for older readers. I actually lent this to my sister to read, and she not only tabbed everything, but this girl is such a crazy annotator. Like, I swear she wrote something on every single page in this book, and like she will underline everything. Look at this. Look at this. She's a little insane, I won't lie, but if it gives you any indication, she's 3 years younger than me, so she's 15, and she ate this up so much. So especially if you're a younger reader, you will love this. And you know, if you're older too, maybe pick it up. You never know, you might really like it. Oh, this next one is gonna be interesting. I want to talk about Kiss of the Basilisk. Yeah, this one. Have you seen this one? Have you seen this one on BookTok? I'm sure you have. This is spice and no plot. essentially, which I don't want to shame anyone for. If you want spice and no plot, pick this up. We follow our main character, whose name I don't remember because, crazy news, I DNF'd this book at 45%. I couldn't do it. But that being said, let me explain the plot line before I actually talk about my feelings, maybe. So this follows our main character. I think her name maybe is Tem, actually. And she is basically enlisted with like 13 other girls to go and be trained by basilisks, which are like humans that can shift into like snakes or serpent. Be trained by them about how to be good in the bedroom, basically. And then they're all going to use that knowledge and go compete to win the hand of the prince who is looking for a wife, and apparently one who is very sexually knowledgeable, I guess. I don't know. I did not like this. And that's a personal opinion. For me, it was a no because it was literally just spice and no plot. I love a spicy book. Give it to me. But I need a book with a plot to it. And this not only was so incredibly predictable, but I was also just so sick and tired of the main character. And so if I'm mixed with a plot that I can predict, a main character I don't like, and the rest of it literally is just spice that I'm getting so tired of for 500 pages, like I couldn't do it. So it was an absolute no for me. I DNF'd it, my first DNF of the year. But that being said, if you want a spicy fun time that requires little brain power to understand, if you want to read about basilisks, you know, you do you. So I'm not gonna judge you for liking this book. A lot of people really do like this book, and if you like it, then you do you. For me though, and if you read like me, you're not gonna like this because there is no plot. It's literally just smut. And that's that on that one. If you don't like it, well, don't say I didn't warn you, but if you do like it, I hope you enjoy yourself. I really genuinely hope that you enjoy the book. You know, it was for me though. The next book on this list, literal baby Magnolia Parks. This follows our main girl, Magnolia Parks. I mean, duh, her name is on the cover, and her love interest, BJ Ballantyne. They've known each other since they were kids. They've dated since they were teenagers, but they broke up over this huge fight 3 years ago, and since they refused to get back together. It's a lot of like, he cheats, well, not cheating because they're not together, but I also like don't want to do this because emotional cheating is still cheating. Anyway, he like gets with other girls to make her jealous. She dates around to make him jealous. It's a lot of back and forth, and everyone knows that they're soulmates, but they are so incredibly messy to each other, and there's so much dirt in their story, and also the characters that they are surrounded by, because like there is the box set of Friends and they all have their own drama and juiciness. It is just rich people in London being rich and messy. On the surface, it's just like a gossip column, but when you actually read this and dive deep, not only is Jessa Hastings' writing incredible, perfect balance of like laughter and comedy, but also such hard-hitting lines. I mean, I annotated this entire thing because the lines are so good, but also the emotions and the love that you have for these incredibly flawed characters it's undescribable. It really is just an experience that you have to go and experience. The people who won't like this book will get annoyed by Magnolia and BJ because they are so push and pull, because they are just refusing to have emotionally intelligent conversations with each other. I get that can be frustrating, but if you are okay with just watching two very flawed characters do very flawed things and just you want to be there for them the entire time because you just love them so much, if you want an experience like that, you need to pick up Magnolia Parks. Just trust me, you gotta do it. It is hot in here and I am sweating, but we still got some books to work through. So the next book on my list is All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. Now this is the only book I've read by Mariana Zapata, and I know that she is incredibly both popular and infamous for her super slow burns. I'm talking like you get to 500 pages and then maybe they'll hold hands. Maybe they'll like make eye contact. The tension is there the entire time, but like you don't get a kiss until maybe page 600. I'm being so honest. It's so slow. This is my first one, and I'm not gonna lie, I was intimidated, and I still am intimidated, but I do intend to read more by her because this was really good. I gave it 4 stars. All Roads Lead Here is about a girl named Aurora who is leaving a toxic relationship. She's moving to a new town. She is changing her life, and she rents a room basically, or like a house above the garage of this guy named Tobias Rhodes. I was like, what is his name? It's in the title, sweetheart. Number 1, if you like an older man, Tobias Rhodes is for you. He's like graying. Well, also like she's also like in her 30s. He has a kid. They're like older characters basically. Their romance was very slow, very drawn out, but it was so sweet and wholesome because he is such a grump. It honestly takes his son for him to open up to her because she is like sunshine and very positive outlook, and she gets along with the son before she even gets along with the older dad, but the dad sees his son talking to her and looking up to her, and he's like, oh wait, maybe there's actually something to Aurora, and then they start like having conversations and connecting on a lot of things. There's a lot in this book, and I think that it was nice to watch a romance that they connect on more of an emotional level before they even talk about like physical, you know? So yeah, if you want a slow burn with an older, hot, grumpy man, again, more to your romance than just like a physical connection on like the second page, then Martin Zapata, All Roads Lead Here. Maybe you'll like it. All right, the next book for this video is one that I read in a recent vlog, so if you want to watch my entire reading process, I will have that linked down below for you, but fair warning, this is a no for me. And that book is the very, very hyped Silver Elite. This is a newer addition to the list of BookTok books because it came out very, very recently. It's kind of been going viral recently. So this is essentially dystopian romance, but it really is just fantasy romance with dystopian elements, if you can even call them that. Like, we follow every single rule that fantasy romance has. Of course, the grumpy love interest, the girl with powers, tall, dark, and handsome, enemies to lovers kind of plot, the overthrowing the government thing. Like, it's all the same, really. It's just, it didn't work for me at all because we've all seen this exact plot before. The only difference being dystopia. But did it really talk about dystopia? Arguably not. Now, fair warning, I did DNF this book at 70%, so what I have to say is with a grain of salt, but I ended up watching one of my favorite YouTubers review on this book, so I know what happens at the end. And from what she said and from what I read in the first, 350 pages of this book, there is no actual, political commentary or social, questioning, which is the point of a dystopia book, is to talk about, the current dystopia that is our modern day society, you know? Think of Divergent, think of Hunger Games. They're all commenting on our modern actual world. This was just like, hey, I have a really cool gun and I also have a commander who hates me and therefore I must fall in love with him. It was so boring. It was so boring. And for me, the number one thing in books is characters. I love a good plot, obviously. I love good writing, but if there's no good characters, I don't feel very connected to them. I'm not going to connect to a book. And for me, these characters were so bland. The love interest Cross, zero personality, just a hot body. The main girl, Ren, was annoying. I don't like the characters. The plot isn't there. The writing is nothing to write home about. I did not enjoy it. If you can't tell, I'm just like, urgh. It was frustrating because it is so hyped up and I just didn't understand it. The girls who on BookTok or BookTube are like, this has such good characters, a good plot. I'm like, characters where? Where's the plot, babes? I don't see it. I really don't want to be rude, but I tried it. I really, really tried it, and I don't get what everyone is loving about this because it was insufferably annoying. If you want good dystopia, read The Hunger Games. Read The Hunger Games. Anyway, moving on to a book with a little bit happier topic, and that is Six of Crows. Girl, if you have heard the hype on this book, it is all deserved. All deserved. This is so good. This is found family to perfection. We follow a group of 6 characters. By the way, this is YA, so they're all 17, which is crazy because they act like they're 25, but they're 17 in this book. And they all get together from different parts of this kingdom and they're getting together to complete this heist. It is the best found family ever. We follow our main guy, Kaz Brecker. Kaz Brecker, the hot, incredibly flawed, weird glove-wearing person that you are. He is such a weird character and there are so many issues with him. He's also incredibly intelligent. And then all the other side characters, we got Inej, Nina, Matthias, Wylan, and Jesper. The 6 of them are so broken and have so much trauma in their own lives, but coming together, they balance each other so well. They connect so well. The found family, like I said, is 10 out of 10. And the plot is so good. This heist, I don't think I've ever read a heist book before, and this was exceeding all of my expectations, to be honest. It was so fast-paced and engaging and moving, but also the second book really introduces a political plot to this when they get back from the heist. This book doesn't feel like a kid's book, you know? It feels like any adult could read this and love it. It just happens to be perfectly clean for teenagers to read as well. Honestly, so good. I annotated this book. I loved it so much. And if you're wondering as well, this is part of the overall Grisha verse Grisha verse, not verse, by Leigh Bardugo. If you're wondering if you should read the trilogy Shadow and Bone before this, technically people say that you should. I skipped it and I was perfectly fine. I didn't need any other context, but if you want to, you do you. But you need to read this book. That's a demand, actually. You have to read this duology because it is just perfection. All right, just a few more left. The next one on this list is Spark of the Everflame. And girl, this was a no from me. Now, I know the series gets better, but it just wasn't for me. Let me explain. Backstepping here. This follows our main girl character. Her name is DM, I think. Her mother goes missing. I think she went missing like 6 months ago. We were trying to figure out what happened to mommy dear. It is a plot of her and her best friend, whose name is, I think, Henry. But also we find out there's this like revolution group trying to overthrow the government. Yeah, the Descended is the ones that rule the government. So they are like the people with powers, the children of the gods, and they are treated as better than the mortals, DM and Henry being mortals. So the rebel group is supposed to overthrow that government. Classic fantasy romance. Love interest. There's love triangle, actually. I'm sure you can guess where that's going and who's who. And overall, it's kind of starting this bigger series. I think it's like a 4-book series that is being released. And people really, really love this series. And I'm not trying to hate if you do love this series. Like, good for you. I'm really, really glad for you. But for me, I didn't like this book. I gave it 3 stars because DM was annoying. We're going back to this whole, if the characters don't connect with me, I'm not going to enjoy the book, because I couldn't really stand DM. She was a little immature. She made some dumb decisions. She didn't really use her brain in some situations. I was like, girl, if you just think about this a little bit, maybe you can put the pieces together a little faster, because I have, and I did, use your brain. Use your brain. So for me, I didn't like her that much, and so therefore I don't have any interest in following the rest of the series and learning more about the very, 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 very slow burn romance that we get. I love people who love their books, but for me this just really didn't work. So short and sweet, that's my opinion. This next book, I don't think I can talk about without like ranting. I really don't. And that book is Binding 13. This first book, I had to try 3 times to get into because it just wasn't working for me. But once I got into it that 3rd time and I pushed through the beginning, it opened an entire world of pain and sadness, but also just love and deep devotion for this book series. So basically, follow our main girl, Shannon. She is the daughter of a big family. They live in Ireland, and this is a book about domestic abuse and domestic violence because her father is physically and mentally abusive, and honestly, her mother is a little mentally abusive as well. And she lives in this household. They're very poor. Her older brother, Joey, kind of protects the younger siblings, but he is always like fighting with her dad. It is very triggering. If that's a topic for you can't read. Very, very heavily described, heavily triggering. But she goes to this new school where she meets a guy named Johnny Kavanagh, and they start having this little sweet, innocent romance until he realizes that something is going wrong at home. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, guys. Oh my gosh, this series is so good. I've only read 4 books. I know I need to read Taming 7 because Releasing 10 came out like a couple days ago, if not a couple weeks ago. I need to catch up. I know I do. But I need to reread the first 4 books first because I just need to experience them again. This book is unlike every book that you've read because of the emotional content in this book. You will cry and sob and laugh with all of these characters and all of the found family in this book. Our brother Joey, my favorite character of the entire series, Joey. 5 stars across the board if you cannot tell. This book, if you can handle the triggers, is so worth the hype. Please pick it up. Please pick it up. However, next on this list is one that you need to avoid at all costs, and that is God of Malice. I'm gonna make this short and sweet because I put this book in my first vlog of the year and I ranted about it long and hard in that vlog, so you should know my thoughts on this book by now. But let me just say this. I am sick and tired of dark romance books where the main MMC, like the love interest of the book, sexually assaults our female main character and it is romanticized as being hot and sexy. I am sick and tired of it. Our main guy character in this book, his name is Killian, which is very accurate because I need to kill him. I don't know if he's diagnosed as a psychopath, but he is called a psychopath, and truly his behavior is psychotic. He meets our FMC on a cliff that she's about to jump off of, figuratively and physically on that edge, and he comes up to her, a stranger, in the night, and forces her to suck him off. Insanity. That is not hot, that is abusive and manipulative and psychotic. It's not romantic. And this entire book, I kept trying to see, like, where are the girlies saying that this guy is hot, cares for her, and is romantic? And the entire time, I'm like, he just uses her as a body to sleep with, and there is no emotional connection at all. He makes her lunch 1 time, and the girlies are like, oh my gosh, Killian is so hot. Get your standards out of hell. It is so infuriating to me that this book is so hyped and romanticized because it is toxic. This is not romantic. You need a better man than this in your life. Talking to you, talking to me, talking to the book characters. Like, we need to raise our standards as book talk away from this. I love a good dark romance. I love a dark romance. I'm okay with questionable morals in my romance books, but this is not healthy. It's not, and it shouldn't be romanticized as such. If you like God of Malice, I'd be so curious in the comments to hear what you like about it, because I'm not trying to be judgmental and be a hater, but genuinely, this is not romance to me, and I don't understand it. So if you want to talk about it in the comments below, let me know. I'll try to be as nice as possible. I'm not trying to like hate on you. I'm hating on the book. Does that make sense? Anyway, moving on, because I need to like calm it down a little bit, chill out. So let's talk about something happy next, and that is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This book I inhaled in under 24 hours. It was so good. It was so good. Now everyone calls this like a little bit millennial, and yeah, it is. Like, the main girl character has like a bob and it's like bright red, but like, that being said, it was a good time. I think her name is it Ash? Oh, her name's Alexis, and she is like a rich city girl. I think she's gonna be a doctor, and while driving home one day, she goes through a small neighboring town and her car breaks down, and she meets Daniel, who comes and helps her. He is our classic like country boy, small town guy, and it's that very classic, like, she's a city girl, he's a small town boy. Can they find a romance together? Can they be together? Can they align their differences? Can they work past each other's trauma or their individual trauma together, I guess is a better way to put it. Such a good book to read so quickly. I told you I inhaled it in like a day, and probably where I would encourage you starting. And then yours truly is my personal favorite because the mental health rep is so good. Part of Your World genuinely is like an easy, fluffy, fun romance with a little bit also emotional depth to it. Perfect for the summer. Perfect for a road trip. Perfect for just a good time, an audiobook pickup. The hype for this is so deserved, and Abby Jimenez in general, the hype is so deserved. So if you want a new all-time favorite romance author, anything by her, but specifically Part of Your World, is a good place to start. And the last book on this list is a little bit different from all of these other books because it's a different genre, and that is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, because this is historical literary fiction. This is a thick one, another annotated one. This follows two sisters in Nazi-controlled France in World War II. So yeah, much more emotional. This is a fictional story about very real feeling people. If they were inspired by real people, I don't know what Kristen Hanna did to make up these people, because they feel like they actually lived and these stories actually happened. We have our sister, I think her name is Vianne, the older sister, and the younger sister's name is Isabel, and they both have very, very different experiences during the war. They both do what they can to resist the Nazis' invasion into France, and it follows not only the power of women, because my God, are women underlooked for the amount that they do in war. It's always the men who go fight, but in this book we see the women's side, and they do so much. Of course, there are plenty of women who also like fought in the armies and stuff as well, but there is also so much behind the scenes that from what people could do in the 40s, they did what they could. They did their best, and there's just so much in this book that we have to appreciate what happens when the people go off to war and when the people who stay behind are still just as impacted as those on the front lines. What can they do for their community, for their loved ones? What can they do for the country? And it's incredible. It's incredible. I sobbed my eyes out. It is very sad, very triggering, obviously, like war, violence, assault, all the triggers you can think of probably in this book because of the content, you know, and you have to know that going into it. Such a beautiful story, but in such an impactful way. I don't read much historical or historical literary by any means, so it's a new step for me, but honestly, I think the hype is so worth it. That is the last book in this video. I've been yapping for like almost an hour, so I should probably shut up at this point. You're tired of me, I'm tired of me. But yeah, those are my opinions in my part 2 of whether book talk books are worth it. I will link part 1 down below with a caveat that again, it is baby YouTube Sophie trying to figure out what to do on booktube, but I hope you guys really enjoyed this one. As always, subscribe. My social medias are all down below, including booktok bookstagram, but also Goodreads Storygraph Fable. It's also below if you want to check me out over there. I've been yapping. I gotta go. I love you. Have a great day, and I will see you next Thursday.